it's Anna here from Paper Craft Create and welcome to my channel. For those of you returning, it's great to see you again, and for those that might be new to my channel, thank you for joining me and I hope you enjoy what I have to show today. Today I'm actually doing a bit of a collaborative hop between the Kendra's Card Challenge sketches and one of our wonderful super prize sponsors, which is This Calls for Confetti. They've been really kind and wonderful to provide this fabulous product, which I have just been having so much fun creating with. And what I'll be doing today is making an explosion box. So I'll be using 4 of the sketches and really using a great bunch of all this beautiful product I was very lucky to get hold of. So just to let you know, first of all, I'll be using card sketches number 2, and then I will be using 9, 12 and also 13. So although this Kendra's Card Sketch Challenge is predominantly 4 cards, there is so much more that goes beyond the challenge. So in this case, I'm just going to show you how you can use these sketches as inspiration to make other products, projects I should say, and just think a little bit outside the box, but really they just are design elements and can be used for so much more than just the card sketches. So I'll just give you a little quick run through the product that I will be using today. So This Calls Confetti is a whole lot more than just confetti and shaker bits for shaker cards and embellishing. So now they have a wonderful range. They've introduced some pattern papers and some other bits and pieces to complement their already wonderful range. First of all, the paper pad I'll be using is called Painted Patterns. A bit of a tongue twister. It does have the 4 colours, and then it has 3 different designs, and I think it's 4 sheets of each there that you get. Really beautiful. It's a really great, nice, durable weight pattern paper. It is only single-sided, however, really fantastic. So it'll really hold its weight if you're sort of making anything 3D or embellishments, but also wonderful and not too heavy to go on the front of a card. The other thing I have is the Easter themed polymer clay confetti bits. And then I have this coordinating die stencil set. So it is in fact 2 dies which coordinate with 2 stencils. Now I've only managed to use the smaller die in this particular project, but I did have a little play around with the stencils, and I'll show you some blending I did with that just to give you an idea of how the product's used. And I would definitely use them within another project, but I didn't quite fit it into this one here. And they are pretty cool. And then the last little product here is something that I haven't had a lot of use with, but I am loving these, absolutely loving these. So what they are rub-on transfers. So you've got one sheet which is gold foil, and then you've got like white. Might be a little hard to, I'll just put my hand under there, you'll be able to see that, but you will see these definitely on my project. I will show you how to do one, however, just to save time, because there will be an awful lot to get through on this tutorial, I will, I will just have them already done. Now there is some convenient and very great instructions on how to use them. So if you haven't used them before, they are really super easy and look really magnificent, particularly if you don't want to get your stamps out, and a very convenient type of, sentiment. And then what I've done here, I just want to show you. So with this smaller stencil, I just used some oxide inks and then also just the distress ink, and just used a blending brush just to put those together. So really just as you would use any other stencil, just popping that down, securing it down using your blending brushes. So that was a couple of blues I mixed together. Then I did like a yellow and blue. I did just the distress in the green, and then I did this one with another stencil I had, sort of distress dots over the top of it. And look, they've come up great. I just decided not to go with the blue, so that's why I didn't end up using these with my project, but certainly I will use my dies to cut those out, and in fact just use them for another project, or use them for a little tag or something like that. These would be great to make backgrounds. And an idea I did have, which I decided not to do, but we'll probably do for Easter, is actually you could design, just get some white craft bags, and then, do some stenciling on those and make them look fantastic, and make them personalised to what you need. So with all of that said, oh sorry, I don't know if I mentioned, but there's also a little stick that comes with the rubbing sheets, so it makes it really easy, so there's nothing else you need to buy to adhere those onto your paper. So now we'll get stuck into this wonderful project. Now there are lots of instructions, and it will be a little bit of a longer video, but I'll get through it as quickly as I can. I will try and put some measurements up where you can, but by all means you can just keep watching, pausing and following along if you'd like to make one of these for yourself. Okay, so we will be starting with a 12 by 12 cardstock piece for the base. We will be scoring at 4 and 8 inches, rotating 90 degrees and scoring 4 and 8 inches again. We will then cut the left little score line up to the next line on all 4 sides, which will create an extra bit for our 4 pages. So we'll just be folding those over. Some of these explosion boxes have been made where they cut out the 4 corners, which is also totally fine. I just felt it would add a little bit more strength to my box, so I'm just going to use them fully. I have also seen people use them and cut them on angles or half and turn them into pockets, but I just decided to just keep them full and just make it a much sturdier box. So just adhere them, either using a strong adhesive like this sort of tape gun, or you can use some liquid glue. For the purpose of making this just quick and easy, I'm just using the tape runner, but glue would certainly work fine. So you'll end up with this cross, and now I will decorate the outside of it. Now I will be using the pattern paper in the pink, so the 3 different pattern papers. I have corner rounded all the tops of the pages, and I will do the same so that these matted pieces all fit in nicely. I just think these two, the colors coordinate so lovely together. I like the really sort of dark pink together with this sort of the different sort of hues of pink. I think it really, on the white base, it really makes it pop out on this nice sort of magenta type color base. I will be using coordinating green. So this is just a little sample of me putting one of these rub-ons on. So in fact, if you've never used them before, I'd use one of the smaller sizes. This is probably one of the bigger sizes there, just because you want to get a feel for how you need to rub it. It is really simple and really, quick and effective. You just need to sort of take your time and just make sure when you're lifting it, just sort of pull it up quite carefully. So if there's any little bits that are still left on, you can just rub them on. But it's quite easy to see through the plastic whether it has all come off or not. And it just looks beautiful. So it's sort of an in between the look of a foil or a heat embossed type of image. So it just looks just gorgeous. They're really, really quick and easy, and I will definitely be using them in other projects. So that's the outside. I'm now going to start on the inside, which is where I'm actually using the card sketches from Kendra's Card Challenge number 13. So what I have done is I have in fact altered a couple of the measurements, because as you can see, I'm using a square base as opposed to a rectangular base. So the width is roughly, I just think, a quarter of an inch narrower, but it is a lot shorter, being a 4x4 size square. So it's very easy to adapt sizes. I just sort of put it up against it, sort of try to work out the proportions, and just sort of, by eye, made sure it sort of all looked well proportioned. But it's so great to use these. If I had to sort of think of a design for each one of these things, it probably would have taken me so much more longer. But they are an awesome resource beyond the challenge. to use for these sorts of projects, where particularly this one here I'm using 4 different card sketch inspirations, and it's just made it so much easier. All I have to do is worry about which pattern papers I was going to use and what embellishments. But once you sort of come up with a theme, you can knock this out really quickly. So yeah, I really enjoyed the look of this, pink and green, very Eastery, and looks quite cute. So you'll see that I've also used some of the gold rub-ons as well. Just as easy to use, really fantastic. Now this embellishment focal piece here was actually a rectangle. I just shortened it a bit and just adjusted, and it worked out really great. This is card sketch 12, which I've now done. I think I've made about 3 or 4 projects myself, just even a couple of quick cards for kids' birthday cards, which is just so great. It's a really good one, particularly if you've got a few small pieces of some pattern paper that you love. You can just really quickly knock up a very, very quick card. But yeah, so I've turned that into a little square base there, and it's turned out just as fantastic. So now moving on to my last of the 4 sketches. So this one here, what I've done is I'm going to create a little pocket. So in fact, this is meant to be 2 strips, one of pattern paper, then a solid with all these little strips on them. The pattern paper that sort of sits underneath, I've just extended the height of that to accommodate this strip, and then I'm going to turn it into a pocket on that top page, which you'll see, or top side of the box. So I'm just putting just sort of arranged these little strips as best I could. Definitely worth doing this with glue, because it at least gives you a little bit more wiggle room to sort of position them before it's dried. I imagine it would be a bit more tricky with a tape gun. So yeah, so I'm just going to line this up with the one side and make it one piece, and then what I'll do is on the sides and the bottom I'll just run a very thin layer of glue, and that will then become my pocket. So I'll just move this down in a moment. You'll be able to see how I attach that. And I just made some little generic tags, and one of them is an egg shape, which is actually the negative piece of my uh, die cut there. So with the lid, I'm in fact going to turn that into a shaker piece. So I decided to use both pieces. So this will now be the embellishment on the top of the box and will turn into a shaker. So I'm just gluing on my acetate. And then for the actual lid of itself, it's a 6 1/8 by 6 1/8 square, and then 1 inch scored all sides to make the sides of the lid. And then as for the box, I'm just moving to that left score line, and I'm just making my tab. So just cutting it and just taking a little slither off, just so that it will fold over itself quite nicely. So super simple, giving it a nice score. So you've got some really crisp burnished lines, and you will in fact be able to create a gorgeous lid to go on top. The top of the lid, it will measure 4 1/8 square, which is 1/8 wider than the box. So whenever you're making a box, base and lid, the base needs to be a little bit smaller, otherwise the lid's not going to fit so well. So 1/8 of an inch is more than enough. You probably could have gotten away with a 16th, but I thought for the sake of a couple of, or that little bit extra, it really didn't make a difference. So just gluing these together, and once again using my clips to keep that together, and they are an awesome. So if you're a sewer as well and you have some of these in your stash, they work great for paper crafts too. I love to use, make use of things a little bit more than just for the one craft. So now I'm going to create that shaker element. So the acetate window now has dried, and I've just put a little bit of static powder on there. Now I'm using the polymer shape, so I don't think the polymer creates as much static as glitter and sequins do, but I always just like to use it just as a safety measure. Using some foam strips, I'm just going to create a barrier around the whole of that egg shape. So that will actually sit in slightly, so you won't see it from the top. It'll just create a channel, barrier, so that
my little bits won't be able to escape. And then just so that the whole piece will be leveled up and it won't look sort of weird, I'm just putting some further foam strips to even that all out, just around the very sort of edge perimeter of the square there. It's only like a 3 by 3/4 square, so it's not a huge piece, but that will sit nice and level. So now I'm just getting my little shaker bits out and placing them. So I've decided to place them on the base there, and then just because I figure I probably am not going to be able to line it up doing it the other way around. What I will do is I'm actually going to take all these strips off all sides except for one, and I'll just have a little bit sticking out, so I'll be able to line it up on one side, and then I can just pull away that the backing paper on that last piece when I've got it all nice and level. So nice and flat, and certainly all those bits away from your tape, and it'll work out quite nice. So that fits on really nice, and you'll see on the left hand side there that I've just got that little strip that I could level it all up and then pull it away, and that's come up really, really well. Now I'm adding a little basket as an extra little surprise inside my explosion box. So some quick instructions on how to put this together. So there'll be 4 pieces of 7/8 by 6 inch. You'll need 4 of those, and then you will need another strip which is 7/8 by 8.5, and that will sort of keep the basket together. It'll be scored at 2, 4, 6, and 8, and actually on those smaller strips it'll be at 2 and 4 inches scored, and then you'll need one piece for the handle, which is a 1/2 inch by 6. No scoring on that one. So just burnish all of those, just some nice crisp lines. I find whenever I'm making a box or anything like that, you really need to burnish well just so that it holds its shape and it doesn't sort of look wonky at all. So this longer strip will become the top bit which will hold it all together. So you'll have a little 1/2 inch tab, and what you want to do is to the right of that you'll put 2 of these strips, and then the next 2 strips eventually will cross over each other, but they will also just be glued as the others were, just on the next panel across. So I'll do that now, and that would be, so once they're all dry, now give them a sec to dry because they are a bit slippery, and if you're not trying to fold things over things, they don't sort of work so well. But what you'll do is you will cross them over, and then you'll cross one over the top and one under. I hope that makes sense. I hope with you'll be able to see sort of what I'm doing. But it's just like you would weave a basket if you ever have. Not that I have, but you've all weaved something once in our life, I'm sure. Well, I hope so. Well, this will be a first time if not. And then those last 2 bits will just get added on to the top there. Now, this is a design I saw through a Stamping Up demonstrator. She has a video, kitchen table stamper, I think she is, Marissa Alvarez. So I think she made this into like a little strawberry crate. So she's got a really good video. So if you sort of don't get this, you might want to head over to her channel and maybe have a look and see how she put theirs together. Once again, I've just glued it together and put a clip on, which has been really easy. Now I'm just using a little hole punch just to place a hole on 2 opposite sides and then 2 holes inside the handle. I'll be using some really tiny paper fastener brads, and that'll just secure that onto the basket there. As mentioned earlier, this video is part of a hop. So in the description box below, there is a playlist so you can watch all the videos, which is really easy and convenient for you. And also, if you get round to watching all the videos, you can go into a competition to win a digital prize from Kendra herself. You just need to fill out a Google form. All information is listed below. I will also have details on how you can find this product from This Calls for Confetti. Wonderful, fantastic product. I hope you enjoyed watching this, and I can't wait to see what my fellow designers have designed using this product and perhaps some other different ones from This Calls for Confetti. So we'd really love if you could just watch all the videos in the hop and get inspired to use these card sketches beyond the challenge. If you haven't already, there's one challenge, 1 month left in this challenge, so you can enter in your 15 cards, and of course there's links down below on how you can enter and download the free PDF for the Kendra's Card Challenge 13. So I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial and video on how to use card sketches in a different way, and I hope you give it a go yourself. If you have any comments or questions, I'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed this and you're not a subscriber, I'd really love if you subscribed as well. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, happy crafting!